breaking news show. We have Sam and Shreyas alongside me. How was your week started so far, lads?
Out with a sickness, but still feeling all right.
Out with the sickness.
Yeah.
Well, at least we got the United results to kind of cheer you up a little bit. We're floating on a high in terms of football at the moment. Sam, started a good week yet?
I'm still off at the minute. Left my old job, waiting for the start date for the new one, so I'm chilling at the minute, just chilling.
Very nice. We've got a lot of. I feel like there's a peaceful kind of mindset going into this, which is nice. And that can correlate to Christian Eriksen, who's also a very peaceful player. We're going to discuss him and his future at Manchester United. Are people going back on it a little bit, maybe wanting to keep him to extend his contract? I'm not entirely sure. We'll definitely dive into that. Player of the season so far, I definitely wanted to discuss because there's a few contenders and we'll kind of have a debate on that. A couple of quotes from our Turkish second goalkeeper. Believe it or not, we do have a second goalkeeper. His name's Bayindir, about playing time. And then we've got some 10 quotes to kind of shift through as well because he was at Sam, I'm sure you'll know whatever it was, but some Writers Association or something, was it?
The Northern Football Writers Association. He basically had a go at Neil Custard, which I love.
Called out Custard, didn't he? What a guy.
Love it.
What a guy, yeah. I definitely want to dive into that, but we'll save that towards the end. So make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel and get involved. Now, Christian Eriksen, lads. No contacts ongoing as of now between United and the board over a new deal for him. His current contract expires in June 2025, and it's very likely for Eriksen to leave the club as a free agent. But Shreyas, when you watch him perform how he has done this season, should we be so quick to pull the trigger?
I really don't know, how to progress with the Eriksen because a thing that really sets me off is that the player doesn't really want to stay anymore at the club. He's come out twice now this season. Said that this is probably his final season at United and he doesn't really want to extend after this season. So that is one thing that's like a warning sign to me. I don't want it to be a situation where you just tie the player down when he actually does want to leave and doesn't be part of the project anymore, because it does create a negative environment. But I think at the moment all we can do is hope that he can keep this form up, because he's actually been perhaps one of our better midfielders this season on a consistent basis as well, playing in a position where pretty much a lot of people expected him to fail, considering the type of way we play, considering his flaws off the ball. But he's still been able to, improvise and I would say affect the game a lot, playing as the sixth. So if things can work out and we can probably, tie him down for another year, I think it would be a much safer option, because at least, he does offer you that space. He does offer you that option. And it's not even a situation where, he's fixated in playing in a certain position. He's a very versatile midfielder. He can still do a job. When it comes to his passing, his vision, he's not lost all of those qualities. When it comes to his vision of the game, when it comes to playing against teams who play a low block and compact football, he's perhaps one of the best players that you can have on the pitch. So I wish he could extend, but
so you would you'd extend it now?
Yeah, if possible, right now for just 1 year, if we can extend it, we could probably go in for that option, because even next year, I don't think that midfielder is going to be a priority. I think even when we move into next season, the first priority will be a fullback before anything else happens. So if we can save some funds and probably go in for a very good option and a very long-term option for a fullback, I would take the risk with Eriksen for another season, because you still got other options. You still got Ugarte tied down, you've got Kobe Menu tied down, and you've got Bruno and Mount as well on long contracts. So you still got 4 midfielders who are going to be there.
Yeah. It's interesting. There's a few points I want to pick out that, Sam. One being, he's probably at the stage now where he wants quite a big contract, right? So we're talking like, let's say 3 to 4 to 5 years, just because, to kind of solidify his future. And then also as well, our criticism, especially on this channel, of Christian Eriksen has always been what he offers off the ball. But have we seen those deficiencies this season as much, would you say?
I think there's still been moments. You saw the mistake in the FC20 game, wasn't it? He was pushed off the ball, which is something we've said to him multiple times, that he's not mobile enough, he's not physical enough, he doesn't battle enough. However, I say that, I saw a stat. He competed in like a record amount of duels in the game against Brentford, and he actually won 50% of them. So like, he seems to have worked on that part of his game, and he clearly knows it's a deficiency. Also, he's only going to be able to do so much because of the player he is. Like, he isn't going to be a bruiser, he isn't going to be an Ugarte. Like, it's just not who he is. So I think the deficiencies are still there, but I think the way we're playing, allows him to flourish a little bit more. It's similar to the way we sort of set up in the first season when Ten Hag came in, a more pragmatic counter-attack style. He seems to be more adept at that, and I think that's where, because you still see it when we get overrun and the opposition turns over and they go through our midfield, it's just non-existent still. It's still a fucking problem. So I think that's going to be a consistent problem until we get somebody else or a different type of midfielder in there. But I think he stands out above all our other players and all our midfielders because he's so technical. We don't have a technical midfielder. We've not got a single one. Casemiro's not that guy. Bruno's not that guy. Ugarte's not that guy. Mason Mount's not that guy. None of them are capable of doing it. Kobbie Mainoo's got it to an extent, but he's the only one who's like purely technical. And I've said this before. If you look at the Spanish midfield, Rodri, Zubimendi, Dani Olmo, Fabio Ruiz, all these guys, super technical, super good on the ball, super good off the ball, like fantastic midfielders. And it just allows them to get the ball to Nico Williams or to Lamine Yamal and just allows them to cause havoc because they've got that solidity behind them, spraying balls and just keeping it rock solid. And we said, didn't we, at the beginning of that tournament, the Euros, like Spain are winning this just because of how good they are set up. Until we get more players like that in our midfield, we're going to struggle. We need some technical players in our midfield, and we don't have enough. And with Eriksen, I would say sayonara to him in the summer alongside Casemiro, and I would go get two really good quality midfielders. Obviously, a fullback, a left back is a priority, but my money would go out in the summer, and I'd get a left back and two really quality midfielders. And if you can get an experienced striker on top of that, I think that would be a fantastic window.
Because you look at other midfields in the Premier League now. I mean, even the Liverpool game yesterday against Chelsea, Moises Caicedo was unbelievable. I thought he was really, really good. Lavia's unbelievable as well.
Gravenberch as well.
Gravenberch, McAllister, like all these Szoboszlai, they're all runners, they're all athletes, but they're all extremely good on the ball. And it's gone away from the years of where it's like back in the day where it's like it's not gone away from it. The opposite way around. Now it's like, what is he good at defending? Is he more of a Regista? Is he more like a Zubimendi? Like profiles. Back in the day, it was like if you were Roy Keane or something like that, you had to do all sides of the game really, really well. And predominantly because it was a 4-4-2, wasn't it? It was like two midfielders were box to box. Now you're looking at it, I still want a midfielder who can almost do everything. Like, it'd be nice to have that. Because I think Liverpool's midfield, individually, I don't think they're amazing. But as a collective, together, the way they play, the way they are as a unit, up and down, that's what I want to see from United. And you look at Casemiro and Eriksen together, it looks a little bit like an old man's home, doesn't it? Especially in the big games. So that is what, when I look at Eriksen, I agree with you, Sam. I think I'm happy for him to go in the summer. He's been performing really, really well. But they need to reinvest in that area. And I think that's arguably the next really big key signing, which is weird to say because it's been a big key signing for forever, hasn't it?
If we can get Casemiro's wages off the books, that helps us tremendously. Like, if we can get his wages off the books, that means frees up, what is he on, 325 a week? Something. So it's like a couple of mil in it, like a year. So it's just like you can reinvest that in the team so much better. And I think if you can go out and get to, like, I'm not saying these are the guys, but just fantasy bucket. If you go get Hjumland and Frankie de Jong, that transforms that midfield. Like, that absolutely transforms it into, this is a team capable of challenging for stuff. But if you don't reinvest that, and we've still got Casemiro next season, and we're trying to fit Toby Collier in there, we're playing Kobbie Mainoo too much games, we're going to suffer the same issues next season.
Well, Shreyas Ugarte was brought in for one of those reasons. But a lot of the people who I respect in terms of their opinion are looking at him saying he'd be better as an 8, kind of high pressing, committing to it. They don't feel like he's necessarily a 6. I'm still unsure because I'm yet to see, a decent sample size of what he can do in that position. But why do you think it's taken so long for him to integrate into the squad?
I think the thing is, the pressure is really high on Ten Hag right now. I think Ten Hag is, whenever he's under pressure, he tries to go with players who he relies on the most. And Eriksen is one of those figures who he does rely on this team. Last season, it used to be McTominay. He used to pick McTominay in most of the games that we played because he used to, rely on McTominay a lot whenever he used to be in an issue or we used to have a bad run of games. And I think once we get some consistency, once we get some consecutive wins in the back, probably we see, more of Manuel Ugarte coming in. And as far as his playing style is concerned, I think he's an out-and-out 6. With the way he plays, with the amount of energy he possesses, with the way he gets stuck in, and with the way he recovers the ball as well. I think genuinely an out-and-out six. He played that position at Sporting and did amazingly well. At PSG as well, whenever he got game time, he used to play as a six. And even in the Uruguayan national team, he's always played as a six. So I don't think that it's a question of him playing as the eight, as somewhat of a ball carrier.
Do you think it's the system then? Do you think the demand that Ten Hag puts on a single pivot is far too much and he's just going to get exposed? So if Ten Hag is going to continue with this system, which I imagine he's going to, because we've not seen it much change, you're going to have to put a double pivot in there just to, like Nick said, put him in the 8 next to Casemiro or put him with someone because he's just not capable of dealing with the turnover that with the big gaps that we got. I was asking a question, but nobody answered.
I thought that was Shreyas.
No, Nick.
Anyone.
Yeah, I thought it was Shreyas. No, I was just, you know what, I was looking at N'Golo Kante at Chelsea when he was in that kind of position, because obviously he's a player who covered quite a lot of ground on it, and who he played alongside, and it was Jorginho. I think you need the balance with both players. I think you need, because like we're saying, it's hard to get one player who does all, who's amazing at everything in it. Like even when you look at someone like Rodri, he's not the quickest, he's not the most mobile, but in terms of dictating a game from a technical perspective, he's the best on the planet. So you need the complementary figures, I think, alongside each other. Who that is.
You look at the way we're playing. Like Ten Hag is wanting to set up with a single pivot and then basically 2 10s or 2 8s, isn't it? Who just push up, and that just leaves too much space. Whereas you need to switch up and you need to have a double pivot, and then just allow the 10 to be part of the front line and just allow them to be within that system, and then the pivots can basically go. I think England were trying to do it, weren't they? It's like if you're playing Jude Bellingham in the 8 with Declan Rice, if one of them's gone, the other one stays. You can't have them both of them push up, and that's what's leaving somebody exposed.
Because Casemiro will do that sometimes, and he'll press up and you're like, "Whoa, what are you doing? Stop!" Because then there's just a giant fucking hole and space in the midfield.
And
Agate's
like, "Who do I go? Do I go to the right hand side?" And then if they switch it, he's just left in no man's land, and it's fucked.
I think rhythm is something as well. Rhythm and timing is something rather than fitness, because I think he is fit. Obviously had a bit of a thigh injury, didn't he? A concern going into the game on Sunday. So yeah, look, I think Ugarte will be fine. I think it'll take a bit of time, but yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I want to move, switch gears slightly and talk about a player who's definitely not getting game time, and that's Altay Bayindir. Obviously, we play Fenerbahce on Thursday, a Turkish opposition. He's a Turkish goalkeeper, and there's a couple of questions been thrown to him. He said, I had a conversation with the manager, Erik ten Hag, about not playing for Manchester United. I always respect the manager's decision, but I will do everything to play. I'm just focusing on the pitch right now. It's weird, wasn't it, with Bayindir? Because even with Romero, who was regarded as, one of the best second keepers probably we've ever had, I'd say.
Yeah.
He would, in the Europa League, that would be his time to play in it. So he's satisfied with the game time. Now, you look at cup games. I mean, the only time Bayindir's ever played is against Newport, isn't it? I think. Is that right?
He played against Barnsley, didn't he?
Did he play against Barnsley?
Pretty sure he played against Barnsley.
You might be right, but even so, Barnsley and Newport, even as a second choice goalkeeper, it's not enough game time, is it?
No.
So why spend that amount of money on a goalkeeper to not trust him in even a games like Europa League, like FC20, for example?
Yeah, no, he's a quality keeper from what I've heard. Like he was a first team keeper, wasn't he, when we bought him? He's Turkey. Is he Turkey's number 1? Or is he?
I'm not sure. I think so.
No. He's not Turkey's number 1.
No,
not. Who's Turkey's number 1?
No. Turkey's. I'll just double check. I think we actually signed him for Fenerbahce, I guess.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I knew it was Galatasaray or Fenerbahce. I couldn't remember which one. But yeah, it was a thing, wasn't it? Back in the day, like under Fergie, under Jose, under like all these different managers, you go to like cup competitions or Europa League or stuff like that. The second goalie would get time in minutes. Like that would be his competition. And I just don't I don't understand why this conversation. Why did we buy him when we had Kovar sat there?
Yeah.
I mean, you could have used that minutes to develop him. He's now gone to Leverkusen and he's sat on the bench. It was like, well, you might as well just sat on the bench for us, hadn't you? Like, you would have saved us. How much did we pay for Bayindir?
I think it was a sale because he was an academy prospect. I think they've done it for that, aren't they, basically?
Yeah. It's like, and it didn't make sense. So I'm just like, why have we bought him? Why didn't we just like get a young player? Like a young player. Why have we bought this level of a player who's clearly wanting to be a number 1? And I just think he should be given minutes. Now, to be fair, last season he should be given a lot of minutes because Onana was fucking up everywhere. Like really bad mistakes. He should have been given. The amount of times we were saying he should have been given minutes. this season, I think Onana's been pretty solid, so I can see why he's not been getting that amount of minutes. But again, he should be getting him into cup competitions like the Europa League. SC20 would have been perfect for him. Fenerbahce might be a bit much, but I won't mind that. And then I think he played against Barnsley. Hopefully, he gets some minutes against Leicester. They're the next Carabao Cup, and they hopefully get some minutes in the FA Cup. And I'd love seeing get minutes against the like POAK. Like that'd be a good team. Why? I don't see why not. I just don't. He's not gonna though, is he? Let's be honest. He's not gonna.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the time when you ask a coach about this, Shreyas, they'll say it's rhythm and the keeper has to play consistently to get used to his teammates and da. But even like you know, I'm not saying just for sentimental reasons, but you're playing Fenerbahce on Thursday. Would that not be the perfect time to play him?
I think we expected him to play against Galatasaray last year as well when we went to their stadium, and he still picked Onana. And I'm pretty sure that he'll still stick with Onana going into this game as well. I don't see him making the change to Bayindir because he's had plenty of opportunities to actually make that switch. And when he didn't make that switch when Onana was playing terribly bad, now when Onana has actually picked up some form, he's putting in consistent performances. I just don't see a world where Ten Hag actually drops Onana.
It's funny because when he went to AFCON, everyone was like, right, now this is his opportunity. And how long was he there for? Like a week or something. And he came back and he was like, oh, he's playing again.
He flew out late as well, didn't he? So he could play in the game.
And came back early.
Yeah. And he came, you're like, for fuck's sake, man. This Paul Altai can't catch a break.
Bayindir's just like that on the bench, like can't wait for my opportunity, and it's like, yeah, Andre's on his way back. He's like, okay, no worries, I'll wait for that cup game against Barnsley next season to show what I'm about. Like, it's a bit, I don't know, I do think he could play him more, but as we know with Ten Hag, he's very strict with certain rotation and things.
We look at like certain young players that we've been asking. Like Ahmad last season just wasn't getting minutes. Harry Amas this season, you think we haven't got left back, let's play him. He's just not willing to bend, is he, on any of it?
Yeah. Speaking about Ten Hag, he was at the Northwest Writers Association. Is that correct?
Northwest Football Writers Association. I think that's what it's called.
Football Writers Association. Yeah. And he got asked obviously about the future of Manchester United and how he sees us at the moment. And he said, we really believe we're going in the right direction. And I would say to all the writers, let's be patient throughout the season because we will see how we end. We are quite convinced. Been struck quite a lot of conviction on that, hasn't there? I think he keeps referencing the end of the season. Now, I'm not sure if he's kind of banking on winning another trophy like he did with the Carabao and the FA Cup. But is that not a risk, Sam, to putting all your eggs in one basket with a trophy?
Yeah, because as we've seen in the Europa League, it doesn't look like we're going to win that the way we're playing, does it? It's probably the easiest trophy, European trophy to win right now, that Europa League. The way the league's set up, the teams that are in it, like, we should be coasting this. Like, you should be coasting it, and we're struggling at best. So I think that's a risk. Like, if he's banking it all on that, like, form needs to turn around quick. Would the fans accept another League Cup? I don't think they would. I think if you want a League Cup...
What if we finished 5th or 6th? Would you accept it?
I think if you got into Champions League spots, I think people would be more accepting of that in a cup. I think if he finishes 8th or 9th and he wins a League Cup or an FA Cup, I don't think fans are going to be all right with that. Fans want to see progression. I think it was Ollie was saying it's all nice to win trophies and stuff, but where you see the real progression is in the league form and how you play in the league. And we've seen in the league it's gone down from like season to season, like it's got worse. And so far this season, it's equally as bad, if not worse. I think in it a worse points total than last season, I believe, like up until the Brentford game.
Yeah. So he beat his own record, didn't he, before the Brentford game.
It's not going well either. So I think fans and Ineos, I think, want to see progression in the league. I think that's where they want to see it. And until we see that, I don't think a trophy is going to save him. Europa League might, because then that qualifies us for the Champions League. That might save him, but obviously we're not looking great right now in that competition, so it's a bit of a risk.
When he's talking about the end of the season there, Shreyas, do you think it is a trophy that he's on about, or the league? Because you look at the league table now, even though we're 11th, right, on 11 points, we're 6 points behind Arsenal in 3rd, we're challenging for a title. It just goes to show if you can pick up a run of fixtures now, which we have got a very favourable run, you can close that gap. Like Arsenal that. I think Arsenal have Liverpool
Arsenal lost as well.
They lost to Bournemouth, and they've got Liverpool next week without Saliba, without Odegaard. You can close that gap on Arsenal to 3 points. if he just beat West Ham away, who've been fucking shocking. So is he looking at long term, do you think, in terms of the league, or do you think he's got another trophy in his mind with obviously his reputation?
If we're being completely honest, no one knows what he's actually thinking most of the days. Like, genuinely. Whenever he even comes for press conferences, genuinely no one knows how he's going to be, progressing through this season. We still don't even know if he'll make it past Christmas. Genuinely, no one really knows if he'll make it after Christmas, because Brentford is only one result. We've got Fenerbahce next. West Ham are playing terribly bad, but that gives them the added factor of actually winning against them. So
but that shows how fickle football is as well, and at the same time, like, it could be very flippant. Opinions can change so quickly.
People are saying Arsenal have lost the title already, haven't they? And it's fucking 8 games in, and you're just like, really? Like 8 games? So
and if City would have lost against Wolves, they would have like, oh, Liverpool, the title challengers. Chelsea can be considered as title. Like, it can change so much. You look at in January, I bet the league is completely different in it, just completely different. So, it says we've not made a good start, and we know that. We're not happy, but we're happy with the win, with the comeback. It's just one game, and if you want to win trophies, you need good performances, and you need a hard job throughout the season. Again, trophies being mentioned there. So I think in the back of his mind, he's, like I've said, you can ask Ten Hag what he wants for dinner, and he'll say trophies. I think he's got in his head, I know I can win another one because I've won the Carabao, I've won the FA Cup. I reckon I can win the Europa League. But with the start that we've had against Porto and FC 20, there's no fucking chance you're winning Europa League performances like that. No way. Tottenham dicks us 3-0 and they're in the tournament as well.
Not unless we absolutely slaughter Fenerbahce, put an absolute hiding on POEK, like a 5-6-0 or something like that. And it's sort of like, like you said, football's fickle. If we put 2 really good results together, people will be back on board.
Are they capable of that, though? Them results that you just said?
At the minute, no. But as we saw against Brentford, we all said we're not winning that game against Brentford, didn't we? All of us. Like every single one of us. Everybody in the group chat, us 3, I think it was us 3 in the preview as well. We all said, not a chance. And we got a result, and we looked good in the second half, I would say. I think we looked pretty good. So we're capable of doing things. It's just we're not able to string stuff together consistently, are we? Like, it's pull results together all in a row. We could do like one-offs in here and there, but like pulling it off in a row seems to be really difficult.
The story of our life as a United fan, I think, under every manager. Yeah, we can do it here, and we've got the potential to go do it there, and then they crash the fucking next week. That's why I was.
Ten Hag said it. Ten Hag said it as well. We have the quality that we can beat this team, but we can't do it on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Yeah, it is. But I think there's been some individuals who stood out over the past couple of weeks, and that's kind of the last thing that I wanted to get into. The player of the season so far, lads, as a collective.
Before you do, can we get into the Costis quote as well? Because you mentioned Costis.
Have you got it? Because I've not got it in front of me.
Let me find it. Hold on.
It was something to do with, do you want to take my job? I travel to Istanbul.
Yeah.
It's not going to be so relaxing for you, is it? Or something.
I'll get it in front of me right now and get the full quote. It's fucking brilliant because as we know, we're all big fans of Neil Costis. Yeah. He said, I spoke to a friend of mine in Germany. He said, maybe I would suggest one of your football writers change jobs for a week. Neil, come please. I have a good trip to Istanbul, really relaxing, and you can face Jose.
Yeah, that's a feather in his cap for me, that. Calling out Custard. What a guy. Custard. Let's do this before we get into players of the season so far. Who are the worst journalists covering United right now? Top 3. Mount Rushmore of worst journalists, let's say.
Custard, Luckhurst. Who else hates us? Who's that guy who...
With Mainu?
Yeah, Mainu. Who's he?
Fuck. Who was it?
Is it the Telegraph he works for?
Is it Jack Talbot or something? No, not Jack Talbot, is it? The Telegraph. Luke something?
Was it Sam something?
I don't know. Someone in the chat will know.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat will know. Yeah, he can get slung in there.
Those three dickheads. Absolute dickheads.
Is Custard the worst, or is Luckhurst the worst?
I think Luckhurst is the worst because he's just waiting, isn't he? When United have a bad day, he's like, all right, here we go.
He's like super negative in here. Yeah. I think I promise you, if you went into his socials now on X and you look at his drafts, all of them are hit pieces.
He's got articles.
The Rasmus Højlund one.
He's got articles. Yeah, he's got articles pre-written when United lose. Like if United lose, he's got the article pre-written ready to go.
Yeah.
And I just think, I think Custard is just a gutter journalist in general because he works for the Sun and the Sun's a fucking horrible rag piece of shit. So I think he's just a crap journalist. Luckhurst actively seeks out negativity for United, like actively does it.
Yeah. That's something I didn't think I'd get into. The worst journalists covering United, and somehow still allowed in press conferences week in, week
Asking
out, and
shit
genuine
questions.
fans who would ask
though.
really good questions like us. Not even a sniff, but anyhow. Right, let's dive into the player we've seen so far. Let's go through candidates as a collective. Who are we throwing in there, lads? Chuck us some names.
Johnny Evans, Christian Eriksen,
Onana.
Mazraoui. That's probably my top, like my ones I'd put in there.
Garnacho, Rashford. Any of them?
Nah, not consistent
Maguire.
enough.
Who'd you say? Sorry, Shreyas?
Maguire hasn't really put a foot wrong.
But his injuries, he's missed quite a few games on due to injuries. It's a tricky one, this, because I think individually, look, as a collective, we've not been good enough. We've just been talking about that for 20 minutes. But I think Onana has been the one consistent. Obviously, Evans has come in and out of the team, hasn't he, really?
I'd say Eriksen, every game he's played.
Yeah.
I don't think he's...
So if you're picking the top contenders, Onana, Eriksen... Mazraoui's new signing's been really good, but... Yeah, I don't know. Would you consider him with that?
Mazraoui has had a couple of games, though, as well. If you look into it. Like, De Ligt has been incredible, and I love him, but even he's had a couple of games. Well. Yeah.
Joshua's got the name Jacob Steinberg. That was the guy.
That's it.
Yeah, that was the guy.
Jacob Steinberg. Yeah, he can be chucked in there as well. It's fucking cesspit. I can't believe that hit piece on Mania after the game. Unbelievable. Yeah. So if you had to pick one out of them, which one and why?
I'd probably go with Onana because I think the turnaround from what he was last season, the mistakes he was making, the shit he was getting as well, like just consistently bad. Thing like from us as well, like let's have it right, like we were calling for his head as well.
Absolutely.
And I think the turnaround, he's been solid. I think I love the way he's confident as well in interviews. He's like, don't give the shit to the young players, give it to me, I can handle it. He's a leader. I think he's done well. He's made some really important saves so far this season, kept us in games, I think, and made a penalty save as well, I think. So I think Onana's been up there. He's very close with Mazraoui, the two people who've impressed me the most this season. Him and Mazraoui are the two most impressive.
Shreyas, when you look at his stats as well, 8 appearances, 4 clean sheets in the league, which is joint most, I think, or maybe he's still top. I'm not entirely sure. He's saved a penalty as well, 20 saves, 5 high claims. Sweeping's been really good. Playing out's been better, I would say, although sometimes in the Brentford game when he was going long, it was annoying me because Rasmus didn't win one header. No. So I was like, you need to chill out on those long balls a little bit. But he's really improved, Danny Onana.
Oh, he definitely has. And I think his first season was definitely very rough. And I think a lot of our problems did come from Onana in that. I would say his first 6 months were very, very hard. But considering how he started this season, considering how he's been playing out the back in instances, considering just, how calm and composed he's been on the ball. And even, when he's been, when it comes to his shot stopping, he's improved a lot in comparison to last season. So he definitely deserves big praise, considering I think a lot of players would crumble after having the kind of first season that he actually had. And also considering that, he's replacing someone who's been at the club for like 10 to 12 seasons. It can take a big toll and a big pressure on any team, so on any player. So I think he deserves a lot of credit, and the fact that he's still one of our most consistent performers every single week, I think it's finally, it's good to have that confidence and consistency in him.
Would you put anyone ahead of him, or would you go with Onana yourself?
I'll go with Onana as well. Yeah.
As a collective, are we agreeing on that?
Yeah, I think top 3 ranking, it would be Onana. And then just negotiable between Eriksen and Mazraoui. That would be your top 3, I think. You can have the other two. You can have the other two, whatever way around you want, really, because I wouldn't argue with it.
Yeah, I think they're definitely the top 3. But like I said, I think Mazraoui's been a breath of fresh air since he's come in. I know he had a bit of a tricky game against Spurs and maybe the game after that, but he's been unbelievable since he's come in. And I think, I'm happy. I'm happy with that. Onana number 1. I'd personally go Eriksen number 2 because I think even his transformation from last season when he wasn't really getting game time, everyone had completely written him off, and he's been our best midfielder, arguably. I think you can say. So, yeah, big up to him. I know we're going to need players like that throughout the season and the rest to contribute and start kicking in like we saw against Brentford. Rasmus getting a goal, Rashford getting an assist, Garnacho getting a goal, Bruno getting an assist as well, all the front four. So, yeah, whether I'm looking forward to Thursday or not against Fenerbahce is a different story. I suppose we can judge that when we see it.
This is what we've said, though, for so long. Like, when it works with us, we're great. We look fantastic when it works. Like, that goal with the Rasmus
Unbelievable.
goal. Is so, and the
Garnacho.
Rashford, the Garnacho thing. When it works, we're great to watch. It's so much fun to watch.
Nobody even knows where the goal is coming from at times. The oppositions actually have no clue as to how we pulled it off.
And then all the other time we just look like shit, and I'm just like, how are we looking like shit 90% of the time, and then the other 10% we can do this? Like, how do we like make that the majority? I don't get it.
Well, that's been the giant $1 million question for ages, hasn't it? Like, we said it so long. Even about individual players, about Pogba on his day, he's so good, but he doesn't do it consistently. Not like you can go through players, you can go through periods with managers. Under Jose, at times, we looked, unbelievable. But then certain games, you look like Sevilla in the Champions League, I remember, and other ones, and you're just like, it's bizarre. I don't know. It seems to be like a mentality thing at United. It's been an issue for a long, long time. And no one seems to be able to figure it out.
When things are great, we look unbeatable, but when things are bad, we are one of the worst teams in Europe.
Yeah,
it's shocking.
Also, when things are bad, they could play a team like City in an FA Cup final, the best team on the planet, and beat them.
Yeah.
So you're like, hold on a minute.
And play him off the park.
How the fuck have you finished 8th in the league? You've played poorly, but lost like fucking 7-0 to Liverpool, done all these things, and then you go and beat. It doesn't make sense at all.
No.
That's why as United fans, you can go into any game and you're like, anything could happen.
There's no correlation between any of it, is there? There's no like thread where you're like, okay, that's the issue. Because every issue is just be like, I don't understand what the issue is because everything else goes wrong. So it's like, well, it might be this, and then that fucks it. You're like, well, it's not that. It's like, it might be this. It's like, we changed the manager. No, we're still doing this. All right, we need to get rid of some of the players. We got rid of some of the players. Still like this. Like, it's just, for fuck's sake, man. What is it?
I mean, sat here right now, traveling to Turkey on Thursday, would any of you be surprised if we went there, went 1-0 up and lost 2-1?
No.
Not at all.
No.
You know what I mean? After that 45 minutes gets Brentford, you're like, okay. I can see Jose putting up like a firm team, even scrapping it out for a last minute 1-0 win, a Fred fucking long range.
The first goal, I'm just going with a back 10. After that, the entire game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's going to park the bus, isn't he?
Fred's going to score a worldie, isn't he? I can see it now.
Yeah.
Fred's going to score an absolute worldie.
100%. Put your money on that if you're going to. Fred's scoring outside the box or something.
And Amrabat will have a good game as well.
Amrabat's will have a good game, yeah. But we'll save ourselves for the preview for that, lads, because that's going to be tomorrow night, I believe, because we play on Thursday. So, interested to get into that. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. Make sure you smash a like on the video for us and subscribe to Real Reds Talk. We're on 7,223 subs on the road to 10K. And we'll be back a little bit later on. So, thank you to Sam. Thank you to Shreyas. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.
Cheers.